Auburn has finally decided to part ways with head coach Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn has been a head coach of Auburn football for the past 8 years. And during his 8-year tenure at Auburn, he has had a record of 68-35. He is 39-27 against SEC opponents. He took Auburn to the national championship game back in 2013, which ended up losing to Florida State. He has led Auburn to 2 SEC West crowns and a conference title. But the Gus Malzahn era has finally came to an end in Auburn. And a lot of people are really shocked about Auburn's decision to fire Gus Malzahn. Now, the reason why I'm shocked about Gus Malzahn getting fired about Auburn is because Gus Malzahn and Clay Helton are two of those coaches who are always on the hot seat, it seems like every single season. But some way, somehow, when it seems like it's finally time for those coaches to finally get their pink slip, they pull a rabbit out of their you-know-what, and they find a way to save their jobs. And Gus Malzahn has saved his job plenty of times. I mean, I thought last year was finally going to be the final straw, but he was finally able to save his job when Auburn was able to pull off the upset against Alabama. And this year, it finally came to an end. And listen, I think that Gus Malzahn is a pretty solid head coach. I don't think he's one of the best head coaches in college football or anything like that, but I feel like he's a pretty solid head coach. And I do feel like Gus Malzahn is going to get another job, if one is available, with the Power 5 program. Okay, when you look at what Gus Malzahn has did at Auburn, 2 SEC West crowns, a conference title, and he took them to a national championship game. Auburn was pretty solid under Gus Malzahn. But the reason why Gus Malzahn has been fired was because Auburn hasn't really been all that consistent under Gus Malzahn. Here's what Auburn is under Gus Malzahn. Okay, they're really good one season. They have like just this incredible season where they're really good. Okay, then after they have a credible season, they end up coming right back down to middle of the pack. Okay? Then 2-3 years later, they come right back up. They have another incredible season, and then they peak right back down. And that's the thing about Gus Malzahn. Auburn really never took that next step as a program. They were never, ever able to maintain that level of consistency. Okay? And part of being a great head coach in college football is you have to be able to elevate a program. Okay? Dabo Swinney was able to elevate Clemson to the level that they are now. Remember that Clemson was a pretty good program. They were always a program that was always making it to a major bowl game. But remember, Florida State was really dominant during that time. Okay? So Clemson finally is able to get over that hump, and they become this elite level program. And remind you that Clemson isn't a traditional blue blood. Like, they don't really have a lot of college football history like programs like Florida and Texas do, dating all the way back to the 90s, the 80s, and things like that. Like, Clemson is fairly new. Like, they are a fairly new powerhouse in college football. So Dabo Swinney finally got Clemson over the top. Okay? That's what Gus Malzahn should have been able to do at Auburn, but he hasn't been able to. And listen, it is a really hard task what Gus Malzahn was asked to do at Auburn. Okay, because remind you that Auburn is one of the toughest places to coach in all of college football. And I'm pretty sure you've heard a lot of people say that, but it is the God honest truth. Listen, who is going to be the next head coach of Auburn? Because if you ask me, if somebody was to offer me the head coaching job at Auburn, I would turn it down. I'll say, no, thank you. I'd rather go elsewhere and try to be a head coach because I don't want to have to face Auburn and Georgia every single season. Both of those two programs are juggernauts right there. And you're pretty much going to have automatic 2 losses every single year. Then you got Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher, who is about to become a powerhouse next year. No, thank you. If somebody was offering me the head coaching job at Auburn and I had other options, I wouldn't take that head coaching job at Auburn. Okay, it is really difficult to have a consistent amount of success in Auburn. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Auburn fans were expecting to become what Alabama is, but I just think that is really unreasonable. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen, okay? If you bring in the right coach, then yeah, it could happen, but it's just really hard. When you look at how dominant Alabama has been over the past decade, when you look at what Georgia is now as a program, I mean, Dan Mullen is lucky enough that he took that Florida job the minute that he did, because he would have waited any longer. I don't know how hard it would have been to get Florida to the point that they will be able to compete with Georgia. So, I mean, it is really hard to win at Auburn. Really is. Because you're facing juggernauts every single year. You got to play Alabama. That's pretty much an L more times than not. Then you got to play Texas A&M. With the way their program is heading, that's going to be another L. Then you got to play a school like Georgia. That's pretty much an L when you look at how their program is. So you pretty much are going to have to end up facing three juggernauts of a program. Whoever ends up becoming the next head coach of Auburn football, that is a really tough task. A really tough task. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I mean, who is going to be the guy to get Auburn to that next level? Okay, because listen, Auburn is going to have some good seasons if they do get a good head coach, or a coach who is just as good or is better than what Gus Malzahn was. But if you find a coach who is better than Gus Malzahn, then you struck gold. But this is a really risky decision. And not because National Early Signing Day is right around the corner, but because if you don't find a coach who is as good as Gus Malzahn, then you're going to be in a situation that you may not even have the success that Gus Malzahn was able to have. Like, listen, I'd rather have a head coach who is able to have, a good season every 3-4 years than having a head coach who is just average to below average every single season. Like Gus Malzahn, say what you want to say about Gus Malzahn, at least Auburn has some seasons where they were really, really good. Okay? But that Auburn job is really difficult. And if they don't find that right head coach, this is going to be a firing that could backfire in Auburn's face. Okay, now let's be honest. You're not getting Urban Meyer. If Texas couldn't get Urban Meyer, you're definitely not getting Urban Meyer. And I'm pretty sure Urban Meyer's looking at that Auburn job the same way I'm looking at it. If I'm Urban Meyer, I'm pretty sure he's saying, heck no, I don't want to coach Auburn. Are you serious? I got to play Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia every single season? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm good. I don't care what you offer me. I don't care how much. You could offer me $1 billion. $1 billion is a different thing, but I don't really know if Urban Meyer would be jumping out of his seat to take that Auburn job. Okay, USC, Notre Dame, heck yeah. But Auburn, nah. Auburn has to play Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia every single season. It's just, how are you supposed to become a powerhouse when you're about to see two of the best, three, Texas A&M isn't there yet, so let me say two, but you got to face Alabama, Georgia every single season? I'm good. I am really good. Like Gus Malzahn, I think that he did a better job at Auburn than what a lot of people give him credit for. So who is going to be that next head coach to take Auburn to the next level? I don't really know. So Kevin Steele is going to be the interim head coach. He is currently the defensive coordinator for Auburn right now. He's going to be elevated to interim head coach. And I'm really interested in seeing how this whole thing plays out, because normally you see teams fire their head coaches a couple of weeks before early signing day. Now you fire Gus Malzahn with National Signing Day, early National Signing Day right around the corner. How's that going to affect recruiting? So, normally you will bring in your new head coach, kind of the similar process that South Carolina did. You see, South Carolina just hired a new head coach. Now he's going to be in there. He's going to be able to kind of, try to get somewhat of a recruiting class ready to go when National Early Signing Day comes around the corner. But you have only a few days left until National Early Signing Day comes. I think that's going to have some major impact and some major implications on Auburn's upcoming recruiting class. So for Auburn, I'm not mad at the decision to fire Gus Malzahn. I agree with the decision. But this is a really risky firing that Auburn is doing right now, because that Auburn job is really hard to manage. Okay, and I already spent like 7 minutes elaborating on why it's so hard. But I mean, you're gonna have to strike gold with your next hire. Now I don't know who that's gonna be. Maybe you hired the head coach at UAB. A lot of people are saying Hugh Freeze. I don't know about Hugh Freeze because remind you that Hugh Freeze used to be the head coach at Ole Miss. He had some things that were going on with the program, had some allegations and things like that, and now he's at Liberty. Now, if I remember correctly, there was a story out there, and I don't know if this is true or not, but Nick Saban actually wanted Hugh Freeze on his staff, but the SEC denied it, and Hugh Freeze is now at Liberty. So I don't really know if the SEC is going to approve of Hugh Freeze considering his past. I don't know. Maybe they change. Maybe they don't. But I don't know if Hugh Freeze is just that right guy. You know, I'm not saying that he's not the right guy to be the head coach of Auburn because that would be my number one candidate. I just don't know if Hugh Freeze is going to be able to be the head coach of Auburn when you look at how the SEC has kind of looked at Hugh Freeze in the past. So I don't know. But you guys let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section down below. Do you guys think that Auburn is making a mistake firing Gus Malzahn? Do you guys think that Auburn can do better at head coach than Gus Malzahn? Let me know. Make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more college football videos and NFL videos. And thanks for watching.